In a bustling city nestled between rolling hills and winding rivers lived a musician named Leora. Her melodies were renowned far and wide, filling the air with enchanting tunes that lifted the hearts and spirits of everyone who heard them, drifting into open windows and bringing joy to all corners of the city. Every morning, Leora would wake with the first light of dawn, her heart filled with anticipation for the day ahead. She lived in a cozy sunlit loft overlooking the town square. The loft was a haven of creativity, filled with musical instruments, sheet music, and sketches of melodies she had dreamed up in the quiet hours of the night. Leora would gently take her elegant harp, a beautifully crafted instrument with delicate carvings of vines and flowers, and make her way to the town square. The path to her usual spot was lined with charming cottages, each with its own unique character. And the air was always fresh with the scent of morning dew and blooming flowers. The square was just beginning to stir, the early morning light casting a golden hue over the cobblestones. She would take a moment to close her eyes, feel the warmth of the sun on her skin, and listen to the gentle hum of the town waking up. With a deep breath, she would begin to play, her fingers gliding effortlessly over the strings, coaxing out notes that danced like sunbeams on a bright day. The music seemed to have a life of its own, weaving through the square and drawing the townspeople towards her. Merchants setting up their stalls, pausing to smile and tap their feet. Bakers bringing out fresh loaves of bread, and artisans arranging their crafts, all drawn to the enchanting sound. Even the birds would join in, their songs blending harmoniously with the harp's notes, creating a symphony that filled the square. The melodies Leora played were more than just music. They were stories woven from the threads of her imagination, each one evoking images of far-off places, gentle breezes, and endless skies. The townspeople cherished these mornings. They felt the stress and worries of daily life melt away, replaced by a sense of calm and happiness. Leora's music had a way of touching their hearts, reminding them of the beauty and wonder that existed in the world. It was a gift she gave freely, her way of connecting with others and spreading a little light in their lives. Her music was a gentle thread that wove through the fabric of the town, binding everyone together in a shared experience of beauty and peace. Leora's gift was not just her talent for playing the harp, but her ability to create moments of connection and joy. Every note she played was a reflection of her own heart, filled with love, compassion, and a deep appreciation for the simple, beautiful moments in life. Despite the happiness she brought to others, Leora felt a restlessness within her heart that she could not ignore. It was as if there was a hidden chord within her that her music could not reach. A melody that remained elusive and distant. Leora's life was filled with beauty and harmony, but there was a longing deep within her, a yearning for something more profound. She cherished the smiles and laughter her music inspired, yet she sensed an emptiness, a void that her enchanting melodies could not fill. At night, after the town had fallen silent and she was alone in her loft, she would lie awake, her mind swirling with questions. She would wake up with the echoes of these dreams resonating in her mind, a reminder of the unknown longing that shadowed her waking hours. She often found herself gazing out of her window. It was in these moments of solitude that she realized her music, as beautiful as it was not enough to complete her. She needed to find the missing piece of her own soul, the deeper connection that her music alone couldn't fulfill. One quiet evening, as the town was bathed in the soft glow of twilight, Leora made a decision. She needed to step away from the familiar, from the daily rhythms of her life, and embark on a journey to understand what was missing. It was a dawning thought, leaving behind the comfort and certainty of her beloved town and the people who adored her. But the call within her was too strong to ignore. She knew she had to seek out the source of her restlessness, to discover the deeper melody that eluded her. As she stepped out into the night, the town square was quiet, the cobblestones cool beneath her feet. She looked around at the place that had been her home and her stage, feeling a pang of sadness, but also a surge of hope. Leora walked towards the edge of the town, her heart beating in rhythm with her footsteps. She had no clear destination, only a sense of purpose guiding her. She knew that this journey was as much about finding herself as it was about understanding the music that flowed through her. With each step, she felt a little lighter, the weight of her restlessness beginning to lift. She trusted that somewhere along the way, she would find the answers she sought and return with a deeper, more fulfilling understanding of her music and her place in the world. Leora walked slowly, her senses attuned to the natural world around her. Each step took her deeper into the forest, away from the familiar sounds of the bustling city. As she ventured further, the rustle of leaves underfoot created a gentle, rhythmic accompaniment to her journey. The The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it secrets from the heart of the forest. The deeper she went, the quieter it became, as if the forest was gradually wrapping her in a cocoon of tranquility. At first, the absence of her harp's music felt strange and unsettling. The quiet was so profound, a steady reminder of her presence in this secluded spot. But as she sat quietly, focusing on her breath, she began to notice the subtle symphony of nature unfolding around her. She listened intently, letting the sound wash over her and calm her restless mind. The distant call of a bird echoed through the trees, its song clear and pure, a single note in the vast orchestra of the forest. The rhythmic rustling of leaves created a soothing backdrop, a natural harmony that resonated with her soul. Each sound she heard became part of a greater melody, one that she had never fully appreciated before. She realized that the silence was not empty. It was filled with the music of life itself. A complex and beautiful composition that required no instrument to be played. As the minutes turned into hours, Leora felt a sense of peace she had never known. The restlessness within her began to dissolve, replaced by a deep connection to the natural world and to herself. The forest had taught her that there was music in everything, in the whisper of the wind, the murmur of the stream, the call of the bird, and even in the quiet beating of her own heart. It was a lesson that filled her with a profound sense of gratitude and a newfound appreciation for the world around her. Leora stayed in the clearing until the sun began to set, casting a warm, golden light over the forest. With a heart full of peace and a mind clear as the evening sky, she rose from the mossy stone and made her way back to the city, ready to share the silent symphony she had discovered with the world. She learned to listen deeply, finding music in the smallest sounds, the drop of a rain on a leaf, the hum of insects at dusk, the gentle creak of branches swaying in the breeze. Each sound was a note in the grand symphony of life. True music, she understood, wasn't just about playing notes on a harp. It was about listening, connecting, and being present in the moment. The melodies she had always strived to perfect were only part of the greater symphony of life. It was the silence that allowed the music to breathe, to resonate, and to touch the soul. She felt a deep sense of peace and clarity, realizing that her journey had been as much about discovering herself as it had been about finding the music within the silence. She did not rush to resume her performances. Instead, she wanted to share the gift of listening and presence she had discovered. She invited the townspeople to join her in the town square for a special gathering, spreading the word that this evening would be different from any they had experienced before. Curiosity buzzed through the town as people arrived at the square, eager to see what Leora had planned. The air was filled with anticipation as the townspeople gathered, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns in the fading light of the day. Leora stood before them, her harp by her side, but she did not immediately begin to play. Instead, she invited everyone to sit quietly, to close their eyes, and to listen. At first, there was a murmur of confusion, but as the townspeople followed her guidance, a hush fell over the square. In the stillness, they began to hear the gentle symphony of the city at dusk, the distant laughter of children, the rustling of leaves in the evening breeze, the rhythmic tapping of a horse's hooves on the cobblestones. Leora's voice was calm and soothing as she spoke, guiding them to notice each sound, to appreciate the beauty in the everyday moments that often went unnoticed. The townspeople listened intently, their hearts opening to the wisdom she imparted. After a while, Leora picked up her harp and began to play. But this time her music was different. It was infused with the depth and richness of the silence she had come to embrace. Each note was deliberate, resonating in the quiet spaces between, creating a harmony that spoke to the soul. The townspeople felt the change. They sensed the connection and presence in her playing, and it touched them deeply. As the last notes faded into the evening air, the square remained silent, filled with a profound sense of peace and unity. The townspeople opened their eyes, feeling a new appreciation for the world around them, and for the quiet moments that held so much meaning. They left the square that night with hearts full of gratitude, carrying with them the lessons of listening and presence that Leora had shared. From that day on, the city thrived with a new awareness. People took time to listen, to connect with each other, and to find beauty in the simple, quiet moments of life. The townspeople began to understand the magic Leora had discovered. In that shared silence, they felt a deep sense of connection to each other and to the world around them. It was as if the entire town was enveloped in a gentle, invisible embrace. A music of unity, peace, and presence that resonated within their hearts. Her music had become a tapestry of sound and silence. A dance of light and shadow that invited everyone to listen more deeply. And to feel more fully. As the days turned into weeks, the townspeople began to incorporate the lessons of silence into their daily lives. They took moments to pause and listen. They found that in these quiet moments, they could connect more deeply with themselves and with each other. The bonds within the community grew stronger, built on a foundation of mutual respect and shared experience. Leora continued to play in the town square, her music now a guiding light for the community. She had learned that true music was not just about filling the silence, but about honoring it, embracing it, and letting it shape the notes that followed. Her story spread far and wide, reaching other towns and villages. The town had learned that true connection and true music come from listening with the heart and embracing the stillness that lies within. The city thrived with this new understanding, finding beauty in the simple act of listening. Merchants would pause in their bustling markets to close their eyes and absorb the gentle hum of activity around them. Leora's story spread far and wide. It reached distant villages and bustling cities, inspiring others to seek the music and silence and to connect more deeply with the world around them. Visitors came from near and far to experience the unique harmony of the city. They walked through its serene streets, enchanted by the gentle balance of sound and silence. Many returned to their own homes, bringing with them the lessons they had learned, spreading the message of the silent musician to even more corners of the world. Leora continued to play her harp in the town square, but her role had evolved. She was no longer just a musician. She was a guide, a teacher of the art of listening. Her music was a reminder of the peace and beauty that could be found in the spaces between the notes, in the stillness that allowed each sound to resonate fully. It's people living in harmony with each other. In this way, Leora's journey had come full circle. She had set out to find the missing piece of her soul and had returned with a gift that enriched the lives of everyone around her. The city became a beacon of peace and mindfulness, a testament to the power of listening and the beauty of silence.